right, and welcome to Gorilla vs. Bear Podcasts. I'm your host, Sebastian Herrera.
And I'm your other host, Patrick Valvano.
And this is episode 0. We're going to
Yes,
go over, ourselves, what we kind of plan on doing in the podcast, and what we want to kind of get to.
Yeah.
So, a little bit about myself. I'm Sebastian. I attend Brookdale right now. It's
Brookdale
community college. Community college.
Yes.
We're based out of New Jersey over here. So if anyone's listening from outside of New Jersey,
How the
welcome.
fuck did you end up over here?
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much a little bit about myself. How about yourself?
My name's, as I said, Patrick Valvano. I currently attend Monmouth University in New Jersey. I'm a junior, political science major. Probably going to add secondary ed to all the teachers, former teachers listening. Yes, I will be joining you in the ranks probably. But yeah, that's about
Pretty
it
much
for me.
it. Yeah. All right. So a little bit about the podcast itself. What we want to get to in here is just raw, uncut, honest opinions, and just pretty much just have fun with it. We don't want to really get too formal with anything. We want to have fun. We want to throw stuff around. We're going to get dumb with a lot of things too.
Yeah, emotions will be out and loose. Like, you're allowed to, you can get deep, and we're also going to be pretty fucking stupid at times.
Yeah.
So be prepared for that one too. But, it's just going to be raw emotion, honest conversations, that sometimes about super easy, stupid topics, and sometimes about deep emotional topics.
There you go.
Again, hopefully with time, we hope to have guests on here, like I said, with time. And those guests, can talk about whatever they want and probably their area of expertise, but it's going to be a fun time.
It'll be pretty good.
Yeah.
Just to jump right into it, you said you wanted to be, a teacher. What about teaching really speaks to you?
I don't know. I think interacting with like young kids in a sense and like really getting a grasp of where they are and like leading them down the road. Like, I've been through a lot personally in my life, so I want to help them like get to where they want to go to in their lives and really not just teach them subjects, but teach them how to get through life, how to get through struggles like that.
Right.
Yeah, that's what it's like. They always say, be the person that you wanted when you were growing up. So I would like to be that for those kids.
I feel like I'm going to be real with you. I feel like most teachers are pretty bad at that.
Oh, yeah. Well,
yeah, most teachers just do it to get a paycheck and like get the summers off and whatnot, which like honestly, if I was a teacher, I'd be doing that too.
Yeah, here. I mean, if you're like
Definitely.
in Louisiana, you're not getting paid anything and you don't have a pension and you don't have health care.
True.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a pretty bold like goal, I guess you could say,
Yeah,
to try and make sure you put kids towards the right path.
Yeah.
I respect that.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's also pretty awesome that you do get summers off.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
Exactly.
But also, like, you still want to teach them the subject, but you also want to make sure that, they enjoy the subject. They're not just there. Like, again, you shouldn't enter teaching if you're just going for the paycheck. That's ridiculous. That does happen. Don't get me wrong.
It's not the best of paychecks either.
No, I mean, when you start, but as
When
you
you
get
start,
older,
yeah, I mean, yeah.
it's not like extravagant, but it'll keep you up there in the upper middle class as you get older. But the thing is that, there are people that somehow just end up in that career just because, they get tired of their old job and they get bored, so they want to try something new, but they don't really care about the kids.
I've met a lot of teachers that don't care for their job, don't care for the students or anything. A lot of the teachers that I had, they were good, they cared, but obviously what made a teacher good was that they cared, was that they made it like kind of enjoyable in a sense to learn whatever the subject was. Even if I hated it, they made it bearable at the very least.
Yeah.
All the teachers that I hated that were like pretty terrible were exactly what you just described. They're in it for the paycheck. They don't like, students. They don't like teaching or anything. They're just there to be there, which I don't really understand. Like, how do you go into a profession knowing you're not going to get paid that well, knowing you're going to have to deal with a bunch of things that you don't like? Like, how do you willingly get into that?
To be honest with you, I think that most of them that end up in those positions had a different idea of where they wanted to go career-wise, and then they felt like they didn't want to do that anymore, so then they decided, teaching seems like an okay job, so then they went through with it.
That's fair. I mean,
which isn't the right way to go about things.
That's not, no, not at all.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's all cases. There are people that think, I can do this, and then they get into it. They're like, this sucks.
This sucks.
Yeah. So now I'm just collecting a paycheck, and like I don't really care about you or what you've got going on. Like, again, there's a fine line too. You can't be like all in like your kid's business. Like,
right.
What's going on at home? What's going on? Like, if
those are the weird teachers.
Yeah, those are the teachers that get fired for certain reasons. We'll leave it at that kind of thing. But you got to still be like, if the kid comes up to you and wants to talk a little bit, like to the extent that you can keep it semi-professional,
Yeah,
and
no, of
like
course.
you know, let that happen. Be there for them. You're not there to, like I said, to just teach a subject. You're there to also guide them through life, because high school in particular is kind of a struggle emotionally. Like you
I
don't realize that until after the fact, that like,
right.
oh, it wasn't that bad, but like in the moment, like your emotions, hormones are just raging. It's
I well,
rough.
how would you describe your experience in high school?
I would say it was pretty good. I mean, in the middle of it, there were certain points where I'm like, oh, I just want to get out of here, especially senior year. I was just like, get
God,
me out,
yeah,
get me out, get me out. I hate this.
yeah.
I can't wait for what's next. But in all honesty, I really did enjoy what I had in that moment. I was
Yeah.
constant. I'm a big set schedule guy. So I had the set schedule. And then on top of that, I had close friends that I saw every day. And, just the whole experience overall, the teachers, I felt like a decent amount of teachers at where we went to high school were the ones that I had, at least I enjoyed
Right.
for the
Well,
most part. There were certain ones I hated, but go ahead. What about
I
you?
feel I feel personally, most of high school was all right. It was all right. It wasn't like anything special or whatever. There was some highlights that I obviously like will always remember and always like love about that. But I feel like the high school that we went to, most of the teachers, they weren't that great. I feel like most of them were pretty much like
Better
assholes.
hope that they don't listen. Yeah.
Most of them. There was definitely a couple, like a handful of teachers
Donahue was a great
Donahue's
one.
a great
I'm
one.
shouting you out right now because I know you'll probably be
Yeah.
listening, and also because I loved you. You were a fantastic
He's a
English
great
teacher.
a great teacher right there.
Yeah.
And those were the ones that honestly made classes like bearable. I mean, I played sports in high school, so it was like fun. But after the season was over, there wasn't really much like to look forward to other than the summer and graduating. I just don't feel like I could say teachers either make or break high school. I will give that
Yeah,
statement
there
out.
was one sophomore year in particular was really, really not great for me. Not from a mental health standpoint. I was perfectly fine, but just like the teachers I had for the most part.
Yeah.
I'm not saying all of them, not saying all of them, but I don't think there was one that I was like, oh my god, I love them. Junior year, on the other hand, I had that, and senior year too. I had an enjoyable experience.
Most
but,
of senior year for me, the best parts of senior year was the end.
yeah,
It
really.
was the end, yeah. Honestly, the prom was fun and great. The trip, the trip kind of was like sucks.
But you
Like
guys,
if you're gonna go for a senior trip, don't go to a fucking pool. All right, our senior trip was we went to a pool
Well,
with
you
a
went
big
to a
slide.
pool.
That's it. That's
He
all
went
it
to a
was.
pool.
I went to
because
a
he was
pool,
class of 2019, I was class of 2018,
Yeah.
so we went to Hershey Park.
which
for our
sounds
trip.
fun. But if you're gonna make a big deal out of a senior trip, don't go to a pool. Like you could go to anyone's pool in your own neighborhood or your own friend's backyard. Like, it's like there was nothing special about it. That was kind of
It seemed kind of fun though. Like, what activities did they have there besides the pool? It
They
looked like there
had-
was more stuff. I'm gonna be honest with
they had a big slide,
you. Yeah.
a pool,
Oh wow, riveting.
a volleyball net,
Oh,
and a
even better.
basketball court. That's it. I mean, they had not go karts, bumper carts, but they were close to us. We couldn't
Why?
access them. I don't know.
You're seniors. What are you gonna do? Like,
I
break it?
they honestly it might have been open, but every time I tried to go, like I wasn't like allowed in. So I don't know if it was actually open or not. But all I remember is not being able to go, and that was a huge bummer. Yeah.
That blows, dude. That's rough. Not at least for Hershey, it was entirely like we
yeah.
were there, but like, to be honest
you-
with you, it's kind of a blur in
Question-
a sense.
question
Yeah.
for you.
Yes.
Do you like amusement parks?
Yes, depending on the. I just like because I grew up as like if you're watching and you're viewing, I have a Disney sweatshirt on. Like I love Disney. I don't really. I think it's like the upper echelon
Okay.
of like amusement parks. Disney.
I've never
I think
been.
Universal's second. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I've been to Universal in California. That
Okay.
was fun. Never been to Disney World.
Okay.
So
Well, the thing is, at least for me, the difference in them is that Disney's got like I talk to Luke, our friend Luke, all the time about this. Is that Disney's got like these unique, different rides. Like every
Okay.
ride's slightly different. I mean, yeah, you could get into the whole discussion that Pirates of the Caribbean's a boat ride and Small World's also a boat ride, but there's different. Soarin' is a simulation experience. Okay, you've got. I'm trying to think, like stupid as it can be, Country Bear Jamboree at Disney World, no longer in Disneyland. That closed, replaced by Winnie the Pooh. I know way too much about this shit.
yeah,
But
you seem like you're a really, really big fan of Disneyland
yeah, I'm a Disney
or
adult,
Disney
just to
World.
let you know. But the thing is that it has its own separate experiences for its rides. You might see some repeats, but there's not a lot of repeats. As in, like the boat ride is like that's the typical kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But like all Universal is the same rides over and over and over again. They're all
I
simulations.
feel that's all with all amusement parks. I feel like, okay, when you were in like 6th grade and you and your friends would go like Six Flags for
Great
some
Adventure.
reason, Six Flags, that'd be fun, right?
Yeah.
I don't see any joy in any amusement parks. I mean, I'm excited to. I'm going to Disneyland or Disney World
So
rather.
we'll get it right.
Rather,
He's gonna get it
I'm,
wrong.
I'm
and we're gonna
excited for
flip out.
Epcot because that's just a bunch of food, a bunch of different cultures. Like that seems cool,
Epcot's
right?
fun when you're an adult for certain reasons,
Right.
but he's not that age yet. Yeah.
But every other amusement park is just so boring, you know? Like Six Flags. Why are you gonna spend $60 there when you could spend $60 on like dozens and dozens of other things that could probably be twice
You
as
can
fun?
do more stuff for free.
So much
that's fun
yeah.
than you can do for like. I mean, the thing is, in the moment and when you're younger and when it's like your first experiences, like, and you have good memories, you want to go there. I'm sure if
guess.
I went to Disney World now and like I never experienced Disney, I would be like, damn, this isn't that great. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I probably would do that, but because I have good
Probably.
memories there and I've had fun, I like going. Same thing with Six
Right.
Flags. Like,
Nah.
I had good memories there for one summer, and like
Right.
I enjoyed it. But now as time went on and we went away from that summer, and that was like the one year, I only have 1 year there where I had a great time. I'm like, it's not that great. It's repetitive.
Speaking of Six Flags,
Yeah.
the fact that Six Flags makes a ride around a food, what is that? Like, you know how their sponsors Takis?
Yeah.
Like, I love Takis.
That's
I
where
will
I
eat.
first
I will
found out
eat them.
about them.
I will eat Takis forever.
Yeah.
But why? Like, I don't get how you're gonna make a ride based off of food. That doesn't seem right to me. Like, that seems like
well,
so
I mean, then
dumb.
you're making an
That's so
argument about
dumb.
Hershey too, because Hershey, it's all.
But then again, I don't
like
like amusement
chocolate.
parks to begin with.
Yeah.
So
But like, what is it about amusement parks that you just don't
okay,
like?
I'll tell you what it is about amusement parks. Okay.
Yeah.
You go to an amusement park, you're surrounded by people. It's like it's a clusterfuck of
Oh, yeah, in
people
COVID
there.
times, I would
In
not
COVID
want-
times
That's
too.
why, like with Disney, I'm surprised you're going now. But go ahead, continue. I'm sorry.
So, amusement parks, you're just surrounded by people, right? You're walking in the heat all day long to wait an hour most times for a ride that's 2 seconds long. Okay, you get the wind in your hair and you get that feeling when your stomach drops. All right, you want the wind in your hair? Drive your car with the windows down. You'll get that same feeling.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't see why you would pay upwards of like $100, $60 sometimes maybe for a ticket to go be surrounded by people, pay $10 for like churros. $10 for like churros, another $5 for a small ass drink, just to go
They charge
stand
you
in
for
line.
water, bro.
Exactly,
Like-
stand in a line for an hour and a half to ride a ride for 2 minutes. It just doesn't seem like
Well,
not only practical. It just doesn't seem worth it to me.
I think it's all about the experience of the ride in general, or like the uniqueness of, like, for instance, you going to Florida. Like, I mean, sure, if you lived by Florida, I guess it's a different. You lived in Florida, it'd be a different story. But if you're like outside of Florida and you're going on these rides, it's like a unique experience. Like, you don't get that repeated anywhere else. Six Flags is a different story. You can
Right.
get that repetition at
Elsewhere.
another Six Flags.
Here's something though.
Yeah.
I have a family friend that lives in Florida, and they work like him and his wife both work at Disney. So does that go to say like Disney is actually much more different than amusement parks than other amusement parks, or is that just like an outlier? Because you're saying, okay, if you live in Florida, it's like a different thing, right?
I don't, I say that, but I feel like it's not. Like, I know
That-
I've like
yeah,
watched
that-
a lot of it, but again, it's in the Disney universe, me watching these videos, and these videos show like, oh, these people love going, they go like every day, or they go like every week to Disney. Like, they never get tired of it. But I think it's because it's a different atmosphere. It's not like Six Flags where it's like, oh, it's the fucking DC like superheroes and like Looney Tunes. Like, I don't really care. I saw them on TV.
You don't like superheroes and stuff? Okay, hold on.
Okay.
You don't like
No,
superheroes?
I do like. There are. I'm just not that into it. I grew up in a sports family. It wasn't like, oh,
I like
gotta
sports too.
Yeah, but like,
But you could still like Iron Man. You could still
listen. I'm gonna
like
get heat for this.
Iron Man
Yeah.
and enjoy the movies and still like sports.
You're not wrong. But like, I'm gonna be honest with you. You know this, and our viewers don't know this, but like, or listeners don't know this. I have not watched all of the MCU movies,
That's
and
a
I've watched
disappointment
them
right
in
there.
pieces.
That's a fucking disappointment. You need to watch. Okay, if you're not gonna watch all the movies in order, you need to watch at least Iron Man movies, Captain America, and I don't know, maybe a fucking Spider-Man movie, but definitely watch the Avengers, like all the Avengers, because okay. You know how you talk about Disney being an experience?
Yeah.
The superhero movies from Marvel, like that whole saga, is an experience in and of itself.
Yeah,
And
but I ruined it for myself already.
You ruined it.
I
How?
ruined it because I watched. Oh my god, I'm forgetting the titles. Endgame and whatever the other one was. I watched them before I watched the other. I watched. Wait, I'll give you the order of what I watched. Guardians of the Galaxy 1,
Okay.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2,
Okay.
Black Panther,
Okay.
the
Right,
Endgame,
Black
and
Panther, great one.
what was the other
Rest
one?
in peace, Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah, God bless that man. But what was it's Endgame and what's the other one? That's
Infinity War.
Infinity War. I watched both of them. And then in May I was trying to watch all of them in a row, but I didn't. So I got through what did I get through? Captain Marvel.
Okay.
First Captain America.
All right.
I started Thor and that stuff.
Tell me this. Why the hell would you go out of your way to watch like basically the last two movies before you watched anything
don't
else?
know.
It's like you just bought a book
Yeah.
and you open it to the last page and read what happens. Why?
It ruins it. Oh, and I
Why?
watched Iron Man and Iron Man 2, but that's besides the point.
Honestly, probably one of the best ones in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I think
That's up for debate, but I think Iron Man 1 is probably like top 3.
it's good, but I think that there were, I don't know, like certain things that I felt like were missing out in it. But I can't give you the exact things because, you know, I don't remember because it was in May. My memory's kind of poor with movies. Like, it'll just shoot out and then that's it.
I'm a movie fanatic.
Yeah.
I love all cinema. All cinema.
But you haven't watched every Indiana Jones movie.
I've watched most. I made
you
those
watch
were
Raiders.
yes, you
Yeah.
did. They were not that good.
Really?
I'll give you that right now.
Oh
They
my
were
God.
not that good.
Oh my God.
You're hyping it up and everything. I think it was more so like it was cool when you were a kid, but they were not that good watching it as an adult.
You know,
It
you're
just
kinda
wasn't.
right, though.
It
Because
just wasn't.
when I was in second grade, though, loved that man. But let's get back to Marvel really
Right,
quick.
right.
What makes it worse is that I didn't understand the references in Infinity War and Endgame. I didn't.
This guy.
I didn't under. I don't.
So
wanna-
so hold on. You
Yeah.
mean to tell me you were watching the movie, you didn't understand what they were talking about, and then continued to finish the movie?
Well, I understood certain things,
But
like, I
not
knew
everything.
about Thanos and everything because of Guardians of the Galaxy and everything like that.
Okay.
But like, and I knew that Gamora was like his daughter or whatever. But the thing that I missed out on, like, I'm gonna spoil this. So if you
Listen,
have
it's
not
been out for
watched-
2 years now. If you
Yeah.
haven't seen it,
then you're a
like,
fucking idiot.
then you're
and
an
you're
idiot.
behind.
Like,
yeah. So at the end, where Steve Rogers is dancing with Peggy or whatever her name is, I had no idea that was.
So
even
you just
fucking
saw
him.
Steve Rogers
I was
dancing
just
with
like, why
some
is this
random
old
person.
man dancing? I mean, why is this man like dancing with this woman? Like, I
See,
don't know.
man, you gotta. You
didn't-
can't appreciate the film
Now
for
I
what it
do.
is if you haven't watched all the other films.
Yeah.
You know.
Now I appreciate it because it's like that. Oh, that relationship made me cry a little bit. Now,
Yeah.
like after watching the first, even just the first Captain America, like you understood how important she was to him.
Right.
And like watching, I had to watch that.
It's
last
heartbreaking,
end
man.
credit scene again, like, because he's like, oh, we're gonna like, what time are we having that date? And then,
Oh,
yeah,
and he
you're just
crashes
like,
into the
oh, you
ice.
finally,
Mm.
so
So sad.
yeah.
So sad. What would you do if you woke up 70 years later? Like now, not like back then. Say somehow you I don't know, got frozen in ice like Captain America did. You survived. 70 years later, where do you think we would be as a society? One, and what would you do? Two.
Where do I think we would be as a society?
Yeah,
that depends.
that's a deep
That's a
question.
deep question because
70 years. I mean, honestly, it's not that much time.
No, it's not.
Most of us will probably still be alive
Yeah.
in 70 years.
Well, I mean, we're as a generation, we're more likely to live until we're 100. We should, most of us, live till we're around 100. So we have quite a bit of life left.
bit of life.
Either that's good or bad, depending on the way you look at life. But
That's a different discussion.
yeah.
All right, 70 years from now, where do you
70
think we'll be?
years. Again, it really depends because you can either be in a Terminator Armageddon kind of situation where it's just robots have
Yeah.
taken over, massive civil war happen, or we could be in a much better place than we are in today where society treats practically everybody as equal And most of our issues have been solved, and we actually take care of people because that's very important. But we
Okay.
don't do that.
I'll
So
tell
I'm
you.
hoping for that one.
I'll tell you what we're gonna be in 70 years.
Yeah.
We're gonna be in a civil fucking war. We're gonna be in a civil fucking war. I'm saying it right now. You already know this country's divided as fuck. Right from left, divided. Like there's definitely not unity in a sense, right?
Yeah.
I feel like it's just gonna get worse and worse. And then instead of having the North versus the South battle, it's going to be a right versus left battle, physically brawling and putting the dukes up. Like, I really do think that we're going to go towards civil war eventually, like within the next, I don't know, max like 100, 200 years.
I'm not going to say that you're wrong. I think it would be more likely to happen now, sooner rather than later, because we're on the brink, dude.
Okay.
You got to look at the
I will admit,
situation,
we're
and
on the
very
brink,
close.
but that's why I think, like, we just need something to, like, just tip us over. And there's just going to be brawls everywhere.
This election might tip us over
You
overall,
think?
because the thing is, you have to think about it like this too, is that a lot of mail-in ballots are going to come in later. So on election night, the people that vote in person, those votes could be tallied, and if the media fucks this up, like, I wouldn't be surprised if they do, but they probably will, because they're going to want to show you who's currently leading at the moment.
Right.
And if Biden's, no matter what, based off of just basic knowledge of the political world, you know that most of the mail-in votes are going to come from Democrats.
Okay, you were saying
so
about
that's-
the ballots?
Yes. So the issue is that, like I said, Biden could win by a small margin or win by a massive margin.
Okay.
And then all these Trump supporters, who they're not stupid. A lot of them aren't stupid. They just lack the ability to get an education because of where they grew up or where they came from. They might not understand this and view it as manipulation by the media and by the Democrats to win the election. And then you've just got somebody's going to be fighting somebody in the streets. One person's going to
Someone's going to blame someone.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Exactly. Really quickly, too, with Bush v. Gore,
Uh-huh.
Gore won that election in
Okay.
2000. Just so you people know, there was this whole issue in Florida that they first called it for Gore in 2000, and then they went, whoa, wait a second, like right on election night, in like the process of 2 hours, they're like, we're going to put this back in the undecided, and then they called it for Bush. And the margin of error was very, very slim, and they had these things called these butterfly ballots, where it looked like, oh, you might have intended to vote for Gore, but you voted for Bush instead. So what happened was, there was constant back and forth bickering, and they took it to the Supreme Court. And because it took like 6 weeks to like have this discussion on the court, they were just
Right.
like, all right, enough with this. Bush is the winner.
The winner.
So technically, Gore could have pushed that further, but he didn't. So this is the issue too, is that you don't really have a lot of time after an election. You have
To really
2 months
fight
of
that,
presidential
yeah.
transition if you're going to be a new president-elect.
Okay.
So you only have 2 minutes to two minutes, 2
2
months to clarify what this election, like the results of this election.
Okay.
And if within 6 weeks it looks like somebody was a perceived winner, the Supreme Court's not going to intervene. They basically said this is
Yeah.
out of our control when they made that decision with Bush v. Gore. So it's going to be the same thing. So, but the issue is, back then people didn't care. They just said, okay, there was more unity back then. People were just like, okay, that's it.
True.
Bush is our president.
True.
There was some tension, but now,
Yeah.
holy shit, are you in for a firestorm?
Yeah, I've said this before. I really don't think that there's been much unity in American history.
Yeah.
Very few moments. I want to
World
World
War
War II, 9/11, and I can't think of another. Honestly, those 2 moments are the only times in American history that I can recall that we were, united as
Perceived
one,
as
perceived as
united.
as united as one, fighting for the same cause and everything. Like, other than that, I feel like, back to it, like, we just keep getting divided. I mean, and because people are opinionated, and they're going to be opinionated. And
Yeah, but the internet's made it so much worse.
the media and
Which
the
is a good
internet
thing.
has made it more accessible for people to
a good
educate
thing.
themselves, but it has also been a platform for fake news to just spread everywhere, whether it be fake news for the left or fake news for the right. Like, it spreads everywhere,
And-
and that's what everybody reads. No one. Like,
Nobody watches
Nobody
TV anymore
watches
like that.
TV, and whatever
Or
they
reads
see on
newspapers.
online. Half the people that see these things online, whether it be good or bad for either side, they don't care enough to go and make sure that it's right. they don't care enough to go double check a source. They just see something and think it's correct.
Yeah, because they go, this supports my side. Let me go through with it.
And that comes back to, honestly, the education. Like, if you're not taught to double check, if you're not taught to, check a source or even just like counter something, if you're not taught that, you're never gonna do it in your life. It comes full circle again. Some teachers just don't give a shit and they don't teach that.
Yeah, and some states lack the ability,
Exactly.
lack
Some
the
states
funding
lack
to
the
hire
funding to do
actual
that.
teachers. Like I know in like Louisiana, I was reading an article somewhere where like the football coach is the history teacher and like the math teacher for that like a certain grade. Like that's ridiculous. But another thing too is what's shocking to me is that there are people from our high school that share things online that they know from junior year. God, Mrs. Donahue, this is another thing that I remember from you too, is that like we had to write those term papers, and with those term papers
Right.
you had to pick out accurate sources, and then you had, I don't know if she gave you guys that diagram. I don't know if
Yes.
you had like a diagram,
That diagram
Yeah.
and choosing sources was hell.
like was
Continue.
yeah. So like people our age should have a general understanding of what is not real and what is real, and some of these kids like share articles and you're just like, did you not go to
see,
mom?
Yeah, I see some of these things that people post, and like the thing is, like they're right around the corner. You might think like they're an East Bumblefuck or whatever, not knowing, but you're right. They're right around the corner. They grew up around us, and they just don't know these things, or they're ignorant. I don't know. All I know is people just don't care enough to really go search and care and see if something's correct or not.
Yeah,
And
which that has to change, dude. It can't be. There has to be some sort of now, at least in this like generation, some sort of like source, like accurate source class or something like that, like an elective that you take in high school, where you learn like which sources are real, which ones are fake, and so you have a general understanding of what's true and what's not, and or maybe like give a history of how like this paper at one point was factual, but then turned into opinion paper, so then you can't use it as a source anymore because
Right.
it's just full opinion.
Right.
Like maybe there should just be a full course on it rather than just you're writing a term paper.
Use
Here's
that,
how
yeah.
it goes, and then go from there. I'm not blaming Monmouth or any other high school in New Jersey for doing like the curriculum that they did.
It's up to the person themselves for caring enough, honestly.
So yeah.
All right, well, we're nearing the end of time,
Yeah.
and we want to touch on the subject that our podcast is named about: gorilla versus bear. It's an age-old question.
Yes.
Pat, who would win in a fight, a gorilla or a bear?
Another complicated question.
Yes.
Super fucking complicated.
There's one answer to this.
This is bear.
No.
Yes,
it's a
the bear.
gorilla.
It's the
It is
bear.
a gorilla.
Why the gorilla?
All right. I'm gonna give you a couple pointers.
Are you gonna go with opposable thumbs?
Okay. Gorillas have opposable thumbs.
Yeah.
Okay. They can. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but if they wanted to, they could fucking pick up a log or something big and heavy and just clonk a gorilla. just
A gorilla
rag that
fucking
thing.
Gorilla.
I mean, rag a bear.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you know gorillas have a stronger bite force than bears?
Did not know that.
Okay, yeah. I'll give you this. Ready?
Yeah.
Bears,
The nails, bro.
the
talons,
claws and
yeah.
paws, like the one swipe from that thing and you're dead, right? I understand that. But gorillas are quick, man. They're quick from the jump. Like they're zippy. I know gorillas can climb trees and so can gorillas, but I don't know, man. If a gorilla sees a bear running straight towards it, a gorilla's just gonna juke it out, just go left, right,
Yeah,
do a
but
little
that
doozy and
claw
just go
is
around.
just so
I
deadly,
understand that.
dude. Like one swipe and then that's it, or they could go right
But
into
think
the
about
chest.
it. I think about it. That's
Like a
if it
Kill
even
Bill thing.
touches it. But like the gorilla, those thumbs. You know how strong gorillas are? I've seen gorillas rip logs in half. Bare
kill people.
trees, bro.
Rest
Bare
in peace,
trees
Harambe.
ripping it. Rest in peace, Harambe.
Yeah.
Like ripping trees in half. You're telling me if a gorilla got the hold of a bear's skull, that thing wouldn't just pop it right in? You're telling me if a gorilla had to bite the neck off of a grizzly bear, it wouldn't do it?
The talons would stop them on the bear.
If
The
it's
claws
quick
would
enough.
literally,
If
bro.
it's quick enough.
Yeah.
But they're not quick enough. They can run fast, bro, but they got to build up that speed. They got to build it up. They don't have like the off the line pace to keep up with that gorilla.
But it's just, to me, it's just all about the claws. That's literally my only argument is the claws. Because you're not wrong. Like, the opposable thumbs are definitely an issue. But, like,
Dude.
if he's got him in a headlock or whatever, kind of, and he's struggling, and, like, that fucking gorilla's about to pop his head like
Bro.
a fucking pimple, I'm telling you right now that gorilla could just go, or, like, right in the chest. And knock him out for a second.
Gorilla's skin is thick. Okay, yeah, it'll make it bleed.
impact
It'll
them.
impact,
Just like
but
if you were
it'll
to
it'll
smack somebody that
it'll
was-
hang on long enough to just, you know, end that grizzly bear's life, dude. I'm telling you, if you were to see a grizzly bear mad enough to fight a gorilla,
Yeah.
right? That gorilla, not even angry. Like, that grizzly bear's just going at it. It's furious. If that gorilla's like, see, oh, this guy's gonna fight me, it would win, hands down, easily. It's more nimble. It's more agile. It's just as strong. It could bite harder. It's got the thumbs to pick up shit and throw rock. You're telling me if a gorilla, all right, with an arm the size of my goddamn head, okay, threw like a 20-pound rock at the face of a grizzly bear, it wouldn't knock it out? You're telling me that thing wouldn't knock it out? What would happen to you if you got hit by a rock that's 20 pounds?
Fucking knock out and be dead forever.
You'd probably die.
Yeah.
You'd probably die.
Be dead.
That grizzly bear is going to get caught in a landslide. I'm telling you, man, a gorilla would win, hands down.
Okay. Now, if you had to pick out of this title, which one are you, the gorilla or the bear? Because we're going to be honest with you folks, it was just a cool title.
This is just a cool title. My girlfriend came up with this cool last name. Genius name, genius idea.
Yeah.
I just liked it. I was like, hey, it's pretty cool.
I liked it too.
If I had to choose, though,
Yeah.
of whether I was to be a gorilla or a bear, I'd probably choose a gorilla.
Here's
Here's another thing,
it's
dude.
not cool, dude.
Gorillas are jacked. Have you ever seen a gorilla do a push-up or a bench press or anything?
No.
Could you imagine if you
They are super
trained a
intelligent.
gorilla to work out like a bodybuilder? That thing would like just demolish everything in sight. On sight, dude.
Horrifying.
I'm just saying, gorillas are dope.
And they're super intelligent too.
And they're super intelligent.
pretty intelligent.
Fucking grizzly bears. What are you gonna do during the winter?
But at least you
sleep
don't
in a
have to
hole.
Deal with the
Go
emotions
sleep in a
of reality.
hole.
Yeah, that
Go
seems
sleep
like
in
a
a
fun
goddamn
idea.
hole.
Honestly, I would love to do that. If that was an option, just to sleep for like 6 months and come back and be like, okay, I'm ready to go.
All
It'd
right.
be pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was the first episode of Gorilla vs. Bear podcast. Thank you very, very much for watching.
Yes.
Please, if you have anything you want us to talk about, leave a comment on YouTube. Leave a comment on our Instagram.
DM us on Instagram.
DM us on Instagram with any ideas and thoughts you have. And with that being said, thank you very much. Keep it real.
Peace out.